Good morning, everybody. Patty Ann here. Hang on just a second. Today I'm going to show how to make these really cute cards in Cricut Design Space. And they're cute because I think kids would love to be able to just slide this thing back and forth. And maybe you'd change yours up so it'd go from one thing and go over here to meet something else. These were just my prototypes just to make sure that I knew exactly which dimensions I needed to use to make it. So I have some text printed on the outside, and also, well, actually it's on a cloud for the outside, and then it's also printed on the inside. This one I pop dotted up, which I like. And this one's my first one, and you can see it. So what I recommend you do when you're watching the video today is to take notes so that you can keep track of sizes. That's what I've done for myself here. I'm a note card person. I like to keep organized with them, and maybe I'll keep these in a little baggie in my little binder that I have for these kinds of things. So let's go to Cricut Design Space and see what I've got going on. Okay, here we are in Cricut Design Space, and I was just playing around with another card, just testing it. So I'm going to get rid of some of these pieces that I don't need, and I'll get rid of the cloud, I guess. So these are the pieces that you'll need to make for your card. So I'm going to move this out of the way to begin with, and this as well. And we're going to start with this piece right here because this is the key to this penny slider. Now, of course, you will need a penny to make this work. But, so what I'm going to do is, to make this piece, I come over here to the shape tool and I get a square, and then I come up here and I unlock it, and I'm going to make this piece 2 inches, well, 5 inches wide, and hit enter, by 2 inches tall or height. So that should be exactly the same size. And now I want this in the upper, very upper left-hand corner. So in order to do that, I'm going to come over here to where it says position. I'm going to change the X position that moves it from the left to the right to 0. And that's going to move it all the way to the left. Okay. And now I'm going to change the Y position that moves the square or the rectangle up or down. If I put it at the 0 position, it will be all the way at the tippy top. Enter. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the shape tool again, and I'm going to get a circle. And this circle, I'm going to make it so it's 1/4 of an inch in diameter or high. So I'm going to change this to 0.25, which will automatically also change the width. Then I'm going to bring it up. I think I'll change its color so we can see it more easily. I'm going to bring it up here onto the rectangle. And I'm going to change its position here on the rectangle by going to the position area again. And I'm going to change the X position, like how far over to the left it is, to 0.5. Okay, and I'm going to change its Y position to 1. So when I change this to 1, watch it move. Not just a hair. All right, now I'm going to come over here, click on it, and duplicate it by coming up here to the duplicate button. And now this one, I'm going to change its coordinates or its position to an X position, which is how far left or right it is, to 4.25. Hit enter. And now you see how far over that is, but it's not lined up with this one. So to line it up with that one, I need to change its up-down coordinate, the Y coordinate, and I'm going to change that to 1 and hit enter. Okay, now both of these are perfectly together, and I'm going to grab all of it and drag it down. Notice on this one there's also a long cut in here, so that's easy to do. All I'm going to do is come to the Shapes tool again and get a square, and I'm going to change the shape of the square, so I've got to unlock it. And do you remember how wide or tall these were? How tall? They were 0.25 inches, so I'm going to change the height of this box to 0.25. So now it's exactly the same height. So what I'm going to do now is I've made it 0.25 because that's as much as I wanted it to be. And I'm going to keep that unlocked because I'm going to stretch it from side to side, making sure it goes from side to side. And once I've done that, then I do want to make sure I go back and change the height again, make sure it stays at 0.25, enter. Okay, so there those guys are. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come over here to the layers panel, and I'm going to select that rectangle I made, hold down my shift key, select both circles. Once I have all three things selected, I'm going to come up here to align and align bottom. And now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to weld those. So now what we have is we have the rectangle, and then we have, whoops, this welded piece, which I should not move. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to slice that out. So there's actually a cut like this, through which the penny will be on the back side and the little figure will be on the front. So I have to select both of these, and since there are only two things, the welded piece and the square, I can slice. Remember the rule for slice. You have to have two things and only two things to slice. So I can come down here to the slice tool, slice that out, and I don't need this and I don't need that. So we're done with this piece. Now we need to make a piece that fits exactly behind this one. So that's easy to do. Just make sure it's highlighted, come over here and duplicate. But I don't want that hole in the one that goes behind. I want it to be a solid piece. How can I get rid of that cut hole? That's right, easily. Come down to the contour button, click on that, and just contour it right out of there. So there we go. Those two pieces are perfect. I'll change their color to green just because this is not a very pretty color that is. And make them both exactly the same. Of course, I don't have to make them the same, and this one will go behind this one, so I'll send it to the back. So it will be like this. Okay, so let's move these guys over here. The next piece that we'll need is the piece on that will be, well, let me show you. Here's our card, and it will be white, and then this piece will be on top because I like a little frame and a little bit more color, but I do want to do my printing on cardstock that doesn't have a texture because I don't like to write with my marker with one that has a texture. So this is going to be white cardstock with no texture, but we'll get to that again in a moment. This is the piece that fits behind. So again, what you're going to do, if you'll notice up here, it is 4 inches by 5 inches. You're just going to come to the shape tool, get a square, unlock it, and make it 4 by 5. Okay, now notice it's not going to fit on the way I want it to go, and my slider won't fit on this. So this piece was made to go the opposite direction. So I can hold down my shift key and grab this little rotate button and just rotate it. Here we go. And just for the heck of it, I'll make it a pink color. And I don't like that color. All right, there we go. Okay, so what we have so far now is, let me get rid of this box and this purple thing and this purple one because they don't go with this, what we're making so far. So what we have is we have this piece that goes on top of the white card, and then this piece will be glued, or actually we'll use those foam pieces to put it behind here. And then I'll group these together and I'll send them to the front, or they already are. They will go on here. Okay. And then the next thing that we will do is maybe get a cloud or a chick to put on here. So you would just go to images, and for clouds I just looked for one. This is the one I tried before. This one's a little bit of a challenge too, but I'll show you. So it comes in like this, and what I have to do, notice there's no ungrouping, but I don't want all of these. So I've got to come down to contour, and I'm going to get rid of this one. And let's see, did it go? No. So I've got to contour some more, get rid of the outside of it, which would be this. Okay, and now look what I have. Now that's not quite what I want either. So I need, because look, it's see-through. It's not what I want, so I'm going to come down here one more time, and I'm going to contour out the middle part, and then that'll make a solid cloud, just like I like. And of course I can change the color here, but what matters is what I have on my mat that it's cutting. And maybe I'll duplicate this one, because maybe I'll have a small one up here. And maybe I'll duplicate it again, and this time I'll make it a little different shape. And this one I may unlock and make it wider, because maybe this will be the one into which I will put some text. Okay. So the only thing yet we have to do is to find a little guy that we're going to put on here. So again, I will go to images, and maybe I will have a chicken. Or maybe I'll have a, I don't know, a bunny again, I guess. Bunny. And I can choose any one of these bunnies I like. Maybe I just want something very simple like this. I could insert that. Make him the size I want him to be. And this is up to you. You can get fancy here if you want to and have like an egg over here or something else that he might be going towards. But I'll just leave it like this for these purposes. And I'll leave that as it is. If I want to write some text on this now, I can come to the text tool and say, somebody, I'll just make it say somebody ... And by the way, if I want this to print using or draw using the pen in my Cricut, which is what I like to do, what I should do is come up here to under where it says font, click on that, and then I should come over here to the filter and change it to a writing font. So then all of these have a writing style that I can use. So I'll just pick Be Free just for fun. And that changed it. Oops. So I would probably change the letter spacing and that kind of thing. And make it so it fits. So this is going to be drawn or written right on here with the pen in my machine. All right. And the next thing I need to do is to attach this, because if I don't, watch what happens. If I go to make it, it's going to put the text, some bunny, it's going to write it here with my Cricut machine. It's going to write with a pen here, and then the rest of the stuff is going to be elsewhere. That's not what we want. We want some bunny to be printed or written right on this cloud. So I'm going to pick the cloud, hold down my Shift key, and click the text. Notice they're both selected over here. And then I'm going to say attach. And that attaches it exactly where I want it to be written. So if we go to make it now, you'll see that the word some bunny is written right on that cloud. Let's cancel this because we have one more thing to do, and that is to do the actual base of the card. So how I do that is I just come up here to shapes and get a square, and I make this square, I'm going to unlock it, 5.5 wide and hit enter by 8.5 tall. So notice that's the exact same size, and this is the size of an A2 card that fits into the envelopes that I like to buy at the office store. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the score tool, or the score. So I come to shapes, and then over here's the score line. Click on that. And we know how wide this card is right here. So that's how long or wide I'm going to make my score. So it's 5.5. Hit enter. And now I don't want it to score this way, vertically. I want it to score horizontally. So I'm going to hold down my Shift key and rotate this so it's horizontal. And then while that's selected, I'm going to hold down my Shift key again, select the card base, and say align and align center. And of course it's hard to see that the score line is there because of this dark color, so I'll change this card color to white. So I had to, since those were together, I had to come over here and select the square over here so that I could change it to white. All right, and now I can bring this back over. Of course, I don't want that. I just want this. Bring this back over, and I'm going to move it to the front, and I could bring this other cloud over here and send it to the front. And of course I'll use prettier colors when I do this. This is just our sample. So now I'm going to cut these pieces out, and I'll come back here and I'll show you how to assemble it. Okay, I'm ready to begin assembling the card. As I showed you before on mine, I was going to go to my cutter and cut my base card, but you don't really need to do that. If you have one of these tools, you just put it at the 5.5 inch mark right here, and you just slice right up between a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and that makes 2 cards. So again, what you do is you put your cardstock in here until it meets the 8.5 or the 5.5 inch mark, and then you just slice it down and you make 2 cards like that without having to use your cutter or anything. And as for scoring, I don't think it's really necessary to score this on that machine, because I can easily just fold this in half and just score it. And I do have a bone folder here. It's just not over near me right now, so I'd use my bone folder on here. So the base of the card is basically ready. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 2 pieces here that are my slider. Remember I said you needed to have a penny, and of course your item you're going to put on your penny. So as I've told y'all before, I'm really frugal. Notice these pop darts had hearts in them, but when it was all gone, I didn't even throw it away because I keep cutting off little snippets to use on things. Or you can get this stuff at the Dollar Tree for $1, obviously, and it works really well too. So I'll start with this, and I'm going to throw that away because it's ended. So the first thing I'll do is just pull off one of these, And I'm going to cut it into thirds if I can. So I'll get 3 pieces out of one of these, each one. Okay. And then all I'm going to do is begin putting it around the perimeter, the outer edge of the one with the slider in it. And they don't have to touch or anything. This is just to glue the 2 pieces together, basically. And I cut them into thirds just to get a lot more bang for my buck. And it literally is from my buck, right? From the Dollar Tree. Okay. So. And there. So I'm going just to the edge, you know. This is just to raise these 2 pieces apart a little bit. Okay. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my penny and I'm going to get a little tiny sliver to go on my penny. And I want it to be small enough that it's not going to get, you know, it's much smaller than this little groove right there, because I don't want it to get caught up in that. So that looks like, oh, I just dropped it. Let me get another one. That one's too small. All right, there we go. That looks like that'll be a good size there. Yeah. So I put this on the penny. Press it down. And then on the other side, when I take off that, I put the sticky on. I'm going to put it on the bunny. So I'm going to center this like that. And then I'm just going to put my bunny on top like that. Okay. And now the next thing I'm going to do is take off all of the extra pieces, the backing of the sticky glue dots or foam pieces. I don't want any of them hanging over the edge like that one just was, so I pushed it in. So now I'm ready to put this on top of this piece. I'll just line it up. Like that, press it down. And so now, as you'll notice, my bunny can go freely from side to side. And like I said, I could put some more things over on this side, but this is just a sample to show you how to put it together. So the next thing that I would do then is to glue. And to put this piece on, I use my ATG gun. I think you can find these probably on Amazon. If you make a lot of cards, they really are handy. And then I will just tape this right onto here. Kind of center it. Just eyeballing it. Looks good. Okay, that's going to go there. So my sun bunny can go up here maybe. And I think I'll pop dot that up, the sun bunny. So again, I can use this junk here that I have left over, because nobody will see this and it serves its purpose. Okay, and I can pop this dot up here. And I don't know if I want it to go straight or at an angle. I guess I'll have it go straight. There we go, some bunny. And then I can just put these back behind here if I'd like. Just add a little more dimension. Okay, this is really rather boring. On these other ones, you'll notice I made little flowers to go over top of it, which I think looks really nice. and I added some bling to them. Same thing with this one. I used different colors. This one was a print then cut bunny that I put on here. And this one was a little chick that's in Access that was a cut file that I put on. This one obviously was just a little silhouette of a bunny. And I could pop dot this up, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to put it on this. And put it like that. Okay, so this just shows you how to make the card. You can jazz it up any way you like to. You know, this was just a simple way, but you can see that this is a slider card. He slides easily back and forth. It's called a penny slider card. And I think it's really super cute. So I hope if you make some, you'll post yours on our Facebook page. Our Facebook page is right there, and I'll have a link to it down below the video. Also, I'll have a link to my Patreon page there as well. If you'd like to join us over there, that'd be wonderful too. So again, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you have fun making these cards. I will have the dimensions that you'll need for the white card, the backing, where to put the score, of course, in the middle, the pink piece in our example, the size of it, and the size of the green pieces. Now remember, there are two of them, one of which has this trough or this slider area cut out as shown in the video. So again, thank you so much for joining me. I hope if you like my videos, you give me a thumbs up and you subscribe. Please tell your friends about it. And I hope to see you over on our Facebook group. Thanks a lot, you guys. Bye-bye.